Good morning everyone. I am lecturer. I am going to discuss about the third semester subject fabric structure in that fourth unit views. Earlier sessions here discussed about the weaving, classification of views. So what is a weaving? Weaving is nothing but the major method of fabric construction by interlacing two types of yarns. Those two types of yarns are known as warp and the weft yarns. While selecting the warp and the weft yarns, you have to be very careful that the warp yarns must be stronger than the weft yarns because it undergoes many abrasions while inserting the weft yarns. So the person who is engaged in this process is known as the weaver. He must have the knowledge about the weaving and the interlacement order and the type of the weaves. So he can easily interlace the warp and the weft yarns. Warp yarns are fixed to the warp beam to the cloth beam. So for the weaving purpose, we are using the looms. Different types of looms can be used for the weaving. Today's session, we are going to learn about the point paper design. So views are classified into two groups already discussed, basic views and the decorative views. So for these views identification, you must know the interlacement order and the type of the views, appearance of the views. So it can be easily identified by the point paper design. What is a point paper design then? Point paper design is nothing but the method of view representation. It is a linear method. Each warp yarn or the thread is represented by a vertical line and each weft thread by a horizontal line corresponding to the warp. Overlap is marked by a dot and the point of intersection corresponding to a weft overlap remains unmarked. So interlacement, that is a correspondence with the interlacement horizontal and the vertical lines. You are drawing the rows and the columns. Horizontal lines indicates the weft yarns and the vertical, that is the vertical yarns known as the warp yarns. That is parallel to selvage, already discussed in that selvage, parallel to selvage, that is a parallel vertical lines, and that is parallel to the selvage, they are the warp yarns. So point paper design is the linear method of view representation. Here warp yarn represented by vertical line and the weft yarn by the horizontal line. There is a simple method, square paper is employed on which each vertical space represent warp thread of the yarn. So square paper on each vertical space represents the warp threads. To show the warp overlap, a square is filled in or cross mark or dot. So the point paper design may be indicated by using three types, that is the filling the blocks or the square, or putting the cross mark, or putting the dot. So warp is filled. The plain square indicates the weft threads or the yarn is placed over the warp. Several types of marks may be used. Draft plan and peg plan must be marked. So main point paper design, you have to show the draft and the peg plan and the design and design repeat. They indicate how many harnesses needed and the interlacement method. So draft and the peg plan, what they indicate how many harnesses needed for that particular type of the weaving and the interlacement method. So basic elements of a woven design. There are three basic elements in a woven design: design, draft or the drawing plan, peg or the lifting plan. So if they ask the question, draft a point paper design for the following views, you have to draw the design repeat, draft plan, peg plan, and the interlacement order. You have to write this. So this indicates the point paper design. You can fill up the blocks, square blocks, or put the cross mark, or put a dot. So this is about the point paper design. The design indicates the interlacement of warp and weft threads in the repeat of the design. It is made up of a number of squares which constitute the repeat size of a design. So that design is whole, but the repeat design is the particular interlacement warp and the weft ends which repeat the design. So repeat size of the design. The vertical direction of the squares indicates the peaks and the horizontal direction indicates the ends. You already know that horizontal and the vertical directions, that is the warp and the weft yarns. That indicates the peaks and the ends. Vertical peaks and the horizontal ends, that is the warp. A blank in a square indicates that a warp goes below the corresponding weft and X mark, cross mark in the square indicates that the warp floats above the weft. So what indicates blank in the square indicates the warp goes below. That is the warp is below the corresponding weft, and the cross mark indicates the square, that is the warp floats above the weft. Blank indicates what goes below the weft and cross mark above the weft. This is the representation. So you can use any of the method. The draft or drawing plan. This draft plan indicates the manner of drawing the ends through the heeled eyes, and it also denotes the number of heeled shaft required for the given view repeat. So draft plan, what it indicates, drawing of the ends through the heddle eyes, that is a part of the loom, that is harness, that is it has a eyes through which you are raising and drawing the ends, that is the warp. Yarns also denotes the number of heddle shaft required for the given view repeat. For example, if the plane view, you are drafting the point paper design for the plane view, what is the interlacement order? That is a 1 into 1, that is one warp and with the interlaces with the one weft hands. So for the each raising of the one and the one warp and the one weft, one below, you need two harnesses. So that is the indication of that how the raises, the yarns, warp yarns are raised by forming the shed through the harnesses. The choice of the type of drawing plan depends upon the type of fabric woven. That is, drafting plan indicates the depend upon the type of the fabric to be woven. That is, depending upon the type of the views we are going to weave in that loom, that indicates the draft plan or the drawing plan. The peg or the lifting plan provides useful information to the weaver. It denotes the order of lifting of held shaft. In a peg plan, the vertical space indicates the held shafts and the horizontal space indicates the peaks. The peg plan depends upon the drafting plan. In the case of a straight draft, the peg plan will be same as the design. Hence, no peg plan is necessary in the case of a straight draft. So, what is a peg plan or the lifting plan? How the lift, that is the usually it denotes the order of lifting the helds or the shafts. So, it indicates, it depends upon the type of the views and also depends upon the draft plan. If it is a straight draft, no need of a peg plan. That is a peg plan will be same as the design. So this is about the peg plan. See the point paper design. This is the design 2 into 2. Here interlacement order is 2 into 2. Drafting plan 2 into 2. 4 you require the 4 harnesses. That is a right and 12 it is. Then here also you need a 4. See the designs. First and this will be the this. So you are raising the war pans like this each. This is the point paper design. Answer the following questions. Define point paper design. Second, mention the 3 basic elements in a woven design. Third, explain point paper design. Fourth, explain the 3 basic elements in a woven design. You can answer these questions. Thank you.